Hi everyone, this is Sarah from Crafting and Relaxing, and today I'd like to show you a project that could be an easy gift. It could be something you make for your own desk, and it can be made the way I'm going to show you, where it sits on a flat surface, or it could be hung on a wall. You could put ribbons on one end and hang it. So first I'm going to show you this finished sample, and then I'll walk you through one that I make and put together. And the base of this item is a 12 by 12 piece of cardstock. And you can see that I've scored it. I've cut it in half, so it's two pieces that are 6 by 12. And then I've scored it at each 4-inch mark so that there are 3 4-inch wide panels. And then I'm just overlapping one section. So if you lay it down and glue it and line it up quite right, you don't notice it at all when it's sitting around or when you look at it. People might even look at it and wonder how you did it. So you'll see it's just, then it becomes like a little accordion, and you can think of the front as the cover and decorate it. And for mine, the one that I'm assembling today, it's a gift for someone at work. And so what I decided to do with these teal panels is cut them and prep them. So you can see, I'm just showing you again, it's the card itself, those are 4 inches wide. So I'm cutting each of these papers 3 3/4 so that there's a little bit of a border around it. And I didn't cut them the full 6 inches high. I cut them 5 3/4, just so they have a nice 1-inch mat or 1/8 mat all the way around them. And you can see there exactly how I'm going to line it up. And then I'm going to prep them. There was one that I didn't do this on, and it backfired a little bit at work. So I'm writing, please write on the other side, because when you take them to work and pass them around to get them signed, people don't realize what your end goal is, and they'll sign both sides. Now, this was just a gift idea I was trying to apply to someone, because flowers are hard if you don't know when someone's coming back, but you can make something fun like this for their desk and it can be waiting. You could also do this for like a family member who's having a really big birthday and you want to circulate it, or wedding reception, or you could just make a cute little mini album that's pet themed like the one I showed you, or maybe for a new parent or grandparent to have on their desk. So what I'm doing now is I'm just adding a little bit of embellishment to each one of these panels so that when I circulate them around at work, people don't sign the whole entire thing, so I don't have room to decorate. But because I was going to take them back and forth, I wanted to be sure it wasn't jewels or things that would fall off. So I'm just taking these panels, and you'll see me do this because I have 4 of them. So I cut out each one, and then I just add a little bit of embellishment so that there's interest. And this should be fun. There's no rules. Decorate them any way you want. They don't have to match. This video is heavily edited, you'll see. It took me over an hour to make this project, for sure. But I had a great time doing it, so it didn't feel burdensome or anything like that. Each little section was like a little bit of, it was like making 5 individual cards, I guess is one way you could look at it. So here I'm prepping another one of the sections that people are going to write on, and I just didn't want to use the same paper on all of them. So some of them I used patterned paper, and I was using the Bliss collection from Simple Stories that you've seen in some of my other videos. And I apologize, it got off camera a little bit in this video here and there. That's part of why I had to edit it so heavily, because you would just be looking at my glass media mat. So here I'm just taking some washi tape and adding it at the same angle as the pattern in the paper, and I'm inking them all the same for fun, and using some of those stickers to add some interest to it. And you can see it's starting to come together. I'm using the same colors throughout and repeating some of the different accents, but still just having fun with the same color theme and thinking about how the end product is going to look. And One thing that I will tell you is in the end, when I assembled this, I had all these ribbons set out. I forgot the ribbons. I even had them sitting there and I forgot to put them in. So that might be something you want to look at in the original, the pet themed one that I showed you, is there were ribbons and pockets. I didn't want any pull out pockets in this one, but I would have liked some ribbons sticking out here and there. This one, because it was for a team member that had been through a really hard time, I just wanted it super cheery and welcoming, and that's why there's a lot of hello and butterflies and just fun and encouraging, nothing heavy. It was a little tricky because I could only use stuff that was 4 inches wide. So you'll notice I cut the bows off of the end of that and added my own little flag ribbon there to help it work because it was too wide. So you have to think about your smaller embellishments and little things like that because it's not as big as a normal card. And I'm just using washi tape to tape down that twine on the back because I had it handy. You could glue it and wait for it. You could use Scotch tape, masking tape, whatever you have. But I've got rolls of washi tape all over my desk, so I was using that. And I'm just trimming it a little because it was sticking out. And there you can see that one's cute. They're all pretty cute. It was fun. It's a very fun project because since I used a matching collection, I had all sorts of stuff and then I pulled in some other stuff off of my desk and I just laid it out and thought about how it would go together. It was hard in some places to remember that I had to leave room for people to sign. So if you were doing it as a mini album or that kind of thing, you'd want to look at it just like any scrapbook page. You'd want to get your pictures and have them ready before you started gluing things down because it was hard enough in a couple places to remember to leave room for signatures, let alone if I was adding photos. So in this sample, I don't add any photos, but you do get to see the finished product after people have signed and how it turns out. So it's pretty cute that way. So I'm just adding, and unfortunately I'm working at the bottom a little bit. I apologize, but you'll see, there you go, yay. So we were excited to welcome her back, so I thought that would be a fun sentiment. And I was just changing things, and I thought, well, maybe that's too much. So just kind of looking at the sentiments that were right, the colors that work, that sort of thing, and working through all of that. This is a fun project because it's more like a gift than just a regular card. It brings a lot of joy, it's fun, and they're super fun to make. So you could make one for your desk, and like I said, you could take it and hang it so that it was the 6 inches wide and with 4-inch sections, and attach a ribbon to the back and hang it. It would be a fun project for your craft room. If you had a collection you really liked, or every once in a while I end up with a bunch of sentiments that I want to keep and love, and I take those and make them into a big project for myself. Okay, so you can see how it's starting to come together and the different pages are laid out. At this point, they're not glued down because I still have to gather them up and take them to get them signed, but I am looking at it as a whole to see how the pages look next to each other and if I have too much on the left and the right, that sort of thing. And because I knew that I was going to be transporting it back and forth a little bit, I was careful about keeping stuff on the page. But if you were making it for your craft room, you could go a little more crazy. You could have stuff sticking up at the top, a lot more ribbons, just different things. I just didn't want it to get, it's different. There's a big difference between distressed and tattered on the way to work, back and forth, right? So I was trying to keep that in mind because I knew I was going to take the panels to work, pass them all around, get them signed, and then assemble the card and then take the whole card back to work. So that's just something to keep in mind depending on how you're doing it. And if you want it to stand up or if you're going to put it horizontal, you would do them different ways. Because if I was going to hang it horizontally on the wall, I could have stuff sticking out of each end of the 6-inch strip. Whereas in the way I'm using it, I can only have stuff sticking up at the top a little bit. But of course I need to keep the bottom smooth so that it will stand up. So now I'm starting to work on the next page, which unfortunately is a little off. And so you can see the different stripes are all washi tape. So I've got a black polka dotted washi tape. Then I had a sticker that was black with white polka dots. And then there's floral washi tape and the golden white. Washi tape was what I had handy, and it works really well. You could use ribbon. You could cut strips of paper. This would be a great project to use scraps, or for somebody who doesn't have a lot of supplies and just wants to make like their own little mini album or something. Because, I mean, the bones of this is literally one piece of 12 by 12 cardstock. It does need to be a good cardstock. 65 pound probably isn't going to get the job done, but if you used liquid adhesive like I did and another thick cardstock over it, it might. I probably used 100 or 110. Something sturdy like you would use for a card base is fine. You could also do it with white. White cardstock would be absolutely fine. I just used colored because that's what was in this kit. And quite honestly, I'm not a big fan of this peach cardstock, so I thought it would be good because it would be so covered up when I was done. So that's kind of my logic on what I was doing. And you can see I'm trying to figure out what to do with that boot. It gave me a little bit of trouble. There were so many unusual embellishments left to use, and I was really trying to use them because they were a lot of fun. So there we go. We've got a rain boot, an umbrella, and Oh Happy Day for when she comes back. So I thought that was pretty cute. And so then I'm just looking. I have a tendency to forget to glue things down, so that's why you'll see me touching things in videos to see if they're glued. And I'm just looking at it and thinking, okay, what else do I need? Where are we? And at this point, I hadn't done the cover yet. If you knew exactly, like it was a theme, you could start with the cover. I just worked my way backwards, I think, because the other pages, I hadn't really decided what the cover was going to look like. And as I worked through the pages and got a better idea of how things were coming together, then it helped me figure out what I wanted to use for the cover a little more. And it doesn't really matter because in an item like this, you see all of the 5 sections at once typically. It's just that I wanted it to have some sort of cover when it was folded up. And typically when I give these, I don't put them in an envelope. They're a fun thing to leave for someone on their desk or use as a decoration at a retirement party or a wedding shower or something like that. So usually they're sitting out and I don't put them in an envelope. So I am a little bit less concerned with the cover itself. Now, unfortunately, I'm working on that far left panel. And when I was making the video, I didn't realize that you wouldn't be able to see it very well, but I promise I will adjust it and you'll get to see more of it. So you can see those are starting to get in my way, and so I'm gonna set those aside. And then, there we go, adjust a little so you can see. And as I worked on this, I found things that I wanted to use and I thought would be fun for the cover, and so I started setting those aside. And there's no right or wrong. I just took random items and layered them up. So I'm using some of that washi tape that I used on a different page, and then some more washi tape, and really starting to tie the different pages together. So embellishments that I used in other sections. And this last little gold, this is a Dollar Tree one, and it is really, really hard to find that edge, but you can't tell on the film, but it's very pretty. It's like a random gold speckled pattern, so it's super cute. And it goes with everything because it shows through a little. The nice thing about washi tape is because it's somewhat transparent, it matches. So I'm just adding some ink to the edge. Probably should have done that before, but didn't think about it, so there we go. And then what I'm going to do is lift it up, and on these I trim them off because both sides of this would be visible, whereas on the actual card panels I folded them around. So just take your scissors and trim off the edge and Don't overthink it. It'll be straight. It's fine. If you work too hard at some of these things or stress about them, it sucks the fun right out of it. And we're supposed to be crafting and relaxing. So remember that. Okay, so now I have this gift tag. The tag wasn't in this collection. It was something that I had inked with the Distress Oxide and thought would be fun. And there's just so much different floral here that I thought a little bit of solid might be good to tone it down. And the bicycle is just very cute and springy. So I'm just sort of looking around for different things and trying to figure out how I'm going to make all these items that I've chosen work together. So this is another washi tape. I don't remember where I got it, but it was probably in one of my videos, so maybe you guys already know. And it says, be happy at the bottom. And I thought that that was just a really nice sentiment. The black is a little bit heavy, but that's okay. There's plenty of other stuff going on that'll balance it out later. So it says be happy, and it has gold foil. So the gold's a little tough to see. I wanted to use that happy little moments thing, but it was just too wide and it wasn't working out for me. So I have that enjoy the little things, and I'm just jiggling these things around. And keep in mind that this video, remember, this took me over an hour, and this is a half-hour video where it's sped up a little. So if you have stuff on your page and you can't figure out how it goes together quickly, keep in mind that when you watch people's videos, they could have spent an extra 10 minutes figuring it all out. You'll also notice that at this point, there is orange and white twine on that tag, and in the end, I changed my mind about that. That was too much of that peachy, corally, orangey, and like I said, I don't love that color. So don't feel like you watch people's videos and it just happens. And also don't overthink it, right? I think I might have made another card for this person. This person has really, really gone through a lot. And so that also makes these projects a little harder, because if there's anything I can do, and if I think that, a little more purple might make this more cheerful, or one more sticker, that kind of thing, that definitely puts some pressure on the outcome and trying to think about it. So if it was maybe just for my own desk, I probably would have just thrown it together a little quicker. But you can see at this point, I'm starting to commit, and I enjoy the little things down. And then now I've decided, yes, we need purple. That was too much of that peachy orange. And this is a really good shot of how those washi tapes look all laid out next to each other. Super cute. So if you have washi tape and you don't use it, just get it out and start sticking it to things, because there's no rules and it's fun. I didn't buy those 3 washi tapes together. I probably didn't even get them on the same day. So now I'm going to kind of fidget with this and figure out how I want to glue those 2 tags down. And I have this sentiment that says dream that I cut out on the Silhouette Cameo and then layered up. But it just didn't really work on this. I didn't think it was quite right. So I decided in the end not to use it. And I'm prepping that, trying to figure out exactly where it's all going to go. Still haven't given up on the dream. Okay, now I have these foam mount things that I'm trying to use up. So if there's a million little ones, obviously if I had large strips of foam mount tape, that would be the way to go here. But sometimes you have this stuff sitting around and you just want to use it up. So you see me flicking all these little tiny stickers from the foam mount tape. And then the other foam mount that I have here on the left in this new package is the one that I got at Joann. Super inexpensive on the discount. And it's the same thing. It's tiny little pieces, and I didn't realize until later that the second row of the package is much larger squares. So there you go. Sometimes look at both sheets in the package and see if they're the same. So again, I just wanted that to pop up so that it wasn't flat and boring. So that's why I put the foam mount. And I had to be a little bit careful about dimension and texture on the other pages because of the portability issues and passing them around the office. So this one I just popped up everything, and I have brads, and I've added all sorts of stuff onto this tag. The portion with the butterflies in the middle that says choose joy is chipboard. So there's a lot of dimension there on those tags and brads and stuff that doesn't necessarily come through in the video. And then the purple ribbon is a bit weird and doesn't lay down quite right. So I tried to add some glue dots and organize it a little. I probably should have just left it alone, because in the end, by the time I got it to work, it wasn't quite right anyway. So if you'll notice, I don't remember what we used to call that stuff, but it's like a sewing embellishment type thing, and it's a little bit slick. It has some sheen to it, so it was a bit unruly with the glue dots. So you'll see me fiddle with that off and on, but I was trying to make it look naturally beautiful, and it was more interested in pointing off in odd directions. Okay, so you can kind of see, then I got another idea. So when I looked at it, there was too much blank space on the right side. That was kind of making me crazy. So I just lifted that up a little and then put washi tape. And you'll notice the reason I was able to lift that up like that is because I hadn't glued all the way around the edge completely. And I used Hermafix a lot in this, the Herma Dotto, because that way I could change my mind and move things. When you use foam mount tape, those big puffy things, or your liquid adhesives, like for me, I'm using the Art Glitter Glue, and lots of times when you're using glue dots, except in the case of that purple ribbon, you can't change your mind. Just accept where you put it and love it and live with it, and if you don't like it, put another sticker over it. But if you're using the Herma Dotto, it's that purple roller right there on the right, you can change your mind and move stuff around. So when you see me take something up off a page that was crooked and put it back down, that's why. So there's the cover, and you'll see throughout this video that I keep adding different embellishments and a little bit more bling and a little bit more. And there you go. There's the cover right there. And in the end, I don't think you actually get to see the final because I kept adding to it throughout time. So here we are, and I have the pages that I took to work and got signed and passed around, and so people have signed them. There was a little confusion on one of them, so people were signing on the back. So I think I worked that through and got that fixed. So then I'm just going to take my Art Glitter Glue. And the reason I'm using art glitter here is because it's handy, and because Hermafix isn't quite as sturdy. When you take a liquid adhesive and you put it on there, it's going to add a little more weight and structure to this. And since this is a folded thing that I want to sit up on the desk, that just helps add to it, because these pieces of paper and the glue will add more structure. So the pet one that I showed you, that example, that's been sitting on my desk for years. So they hold up really well if you use nice sturdy cardstock, and I just thought that glue would add some extra. Hermafix, Herma Dotto, double-sided tape, anything probably would have been fine. I just used that. The other thing too is I used a lot of chipboard on these. You can't quite tell in the video, but the Herma Dotto works better if you don't have lumpy dimensional embellishments on the other side, whereas my liquid adhesive, the Art Glitter Glue, it doesn't matter, right? So that's another reason. So I'm just gluing those down, and I'm just making sure they're centered in each one of those panels, which you can't even really see the score lines in the video. So that's funny, but I'll show you. You'll see it folds up adorably. And now you can see how it's coming together. We have the cover, and then the other pages and embellishments and different layers, and then the encouragement from coworkers, and Then we're almost done gluing it together, and you'll see that I put a few more embellishments on, and it'll just come together quite nicely. So think about how you could make these for people or make one for yourself. They're super fun. You'll love them. Just like a little mini album that doesn't require you to go to the store, doesn't require any supplies, and could add some cheer to someone's day. I know that like Administrative Secretary's Day is this week, and this would be great for a Mother's Day thing. I mean, there's all kinds of things that you could use it for. All right, we're gonna glue this last one down, and then after that, I just need to look at it and see if it came together. And I'm going to add a little bit of bling, because I didn't add any of that before people signed because I thought it would just be inconvenient. I haven't really done one like this where it involved so much coordination with other people, right? And you're passing stuff around with people who aren't crafters. So there you can see how it turned out, and I just love it. I think that it turned out really good, super fun. There's the cover, the different pages, different embellishments. Some are brads, so there's some texture, there's chipboard. And then I have these mint, and these weren't part of the collection. I just got them somewhere and liked the color. And they're a little bit teal, a little bit green. So I'm just shaking some of those out onto my glass mat, and then I'll glue them. And there are sequins in this and little, maybe, I don't know what you call them. Just little shiny green things, right? Little green pearls, I guess. So they don't have any adhesive on them, so I'm using my Pick Me Up tool and some art glitter glue, a little too much by the way, but it'll dry clear, and just putting them on here and there in the empty spaces between where people signed. And in a minute I'll show you up close how I'm doing that and how much glue I should be using, not compared to how much glue I did use there. And I don't think I had any problems with those coming off after I glued them on. They were fine. And so I'm just picking them up. And depending on if you're using sequins or the round dots or different things, I find that with sequins, I just put the glue on the page. And with the other items, I typically put it on the back of them. It's just preference. There's no rule, right? Paper, glue, embellishment. It's not rocket science. See, sometimes I do put it on there. Just depends. And I'm just trying to fill in a little bit randomly and have some fun, fill in the spaces and the things. And I have probably more bling that I could add to this paper than it can hold. So I'm trying to keep it a little bit under control. And you'll notice on the far right there, I have a section that no one signed. So I didn't want just the dotted section, so I do go ahead and put a sticker over that, and just to add a little more interest and balance, because to me there was a big giant hole there. But other people don't think about balance when they're signing on a page, right? That's our job. We'll fix it. We've got stickers for that. We've got stickers and bling. So you can just kind of see how it comes together. Picture it any color. It could be, oh, there you go. So I'm putting the glue right on there, just a little bit. That's a better example. And then putting it down. And I'm using this Pick Me Up tool. It has a slightly tacky end on it. I think I talked about that in other videos. There's a little more light for you. But you could use tweezers. You could use your fingers. You could just use whatever you have. It doesn't matter. It turns out the same. The person who gets the gift doesn't know what kind of tool you use to put it together. So I'm just trying to add a little bit of interest and fun to the different pages, just kind of like you would, even if it was a card, you'd want a little something here and there. So I hope you liked this and it inspired you and gave you something fun to think about and make for someone in your life. And don't forget yourself too. I've had one on my desk for years and I love it. If you liked this project, give me a thumbs up, and please don't forget to subscribe to Crafting and Relaxing. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.